Welcome back, everyone. This is The Boring Show with Matt and I.
Hello.
Hey, today we have a very exciting topic, as always. And
Would it be a pragmatic topic?
yes, a very pragmatic state management topic. Some of you maybe saw the I/O video that we made, or like the I/O talk, and we talked about provider there.
We did.
And here in the Boring Show, we have this app called Hacker News Reader app, I think. And we thought that we might have a look at that app and introduce provider as a state management solution there.
So we're going to swap out some of the existing state solution stuff for provider.
For provider, correct.
Yeah. And it's not that we don't love BLoC.
Oh yeah, we love BLoC.
It's just we also love provider, and we figure,
So
we'll see what happens.
Yes. No. The reason is some people that are new to Flutter will come to Hacker News and to Boring Show. Welcome, by the way, if you're new here. And they'll look at the Hacker News sample code and they're like, oh, so this is how you do things by default in Flutter. And that's not necessarily the case. Like we currently use BLoC, which means we use behavior subject and we use RX and all this. But that doesn't bode well for people who are like new to Flutter and probably don't want to learn a lot about RX, right? So let's do this. Let's try and just like, how does it look like to switch from BLoC to provider? But please, please, please don't think that this is what we want you to do. If you have BLoC and it works for you, then awesome, and continue whatever you're doing. Cool.
Filip hates BLoC.
All right, so let's do this. First, let's have a look at BLoC. Actually, we have a pull request for the Hacker News app, which I'm not gonna do now, but I'm gonna look at it later. But thank you, Albie, for adding a pull request.
Absolutely. Great to get pull requests. Not so great to watch Filip tear your pull requests apart on the Boring Show.
No.
I'm sure it's a lovely pull request.
It is awesome. So provider is now 2.0.1. It is made mostly by Remy Rousselet. If you want to follow whatever's happening, it has a really active GitHub discussion and issues and all that.
Filip, what are they going to have to do to get to that 100% mark? Because it's hanging there at 99.
Oh, no. Popularity, come on, so it's on you. Yes,
okay.
It's on you. Otherwise, it's all flying marks, 100. Cool. So we have this app, and let's have a quick look at what we have here. We're not running tests. We're running the actual app, and so we are creating a Hacker News block. We're creating a preferences block, which I don't think we use ever.
Do we? Oh, we did. I think I wrote that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's at least we have two different blocks that we can.
If I did write it, you're not using the code that I wrote. That's just harsh.
No, I just like apparently you created some kind of like a preferences page or sheet.
It was a pain. It was a sheet. It was great.
And it never made it in. I never saw that code, so maybe it's on your computer still.
I just reverted for testing.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so we have two blocks.
Writing that again.
We have two things that need to be shared in at least two widgets in the app, except preference block isn't actually used anywhere, I think. But we have that, and let's look at the block itself. So this is just a simple class, not extending or mixing in anything. It has its own internal state, and then what it communicates is through streams, in this case behavior subjects, and it has some sinks as well, unless I'm mistaken. And then all that business logic is inside this class, right? So one thing that I can see here is we're actually passing it down like in the Middle Ages, right? Like
so you're declaring it a main, and then you're sticking it into your widget tree.
Yes, and then
all the way to the top, probably.
Yes, we're sticking it to the no. We're actually, it's not even. I thought it's a inherited widget, but we're actually passing it down. So I have it here, and then we have it in my home page, and then we have it in. No, we don't have it in loading info. So we're kind of like we're not providing it in more very sophisticated way.
Tightly coupled.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's first do one thing that provider does really well, and that is providing things to the tree, right? So I wanna first probably import.
So we're gonna need provider.
Yep.
Which is 2.0.1.
Yep. 2.0.1. And
While you're here,
yes,
wouldn't it be nice to use wonderful Dart 2.3 awesomeness?
Yes.
So.
Okay. Also, I have this. So we get that, and then you're saying 2.3.0.
Dash dev.
Dash dev. Yeah. Why do we need to use dev? Dash dev.
Well, in the run-up to I/O, Dart 2.3 and Flutter 1.5 were being closely worked on at the same time. And when we cut the build for 1.5, we cut the build with a stable development branch of 2.3.0, which then subsequently landed in production later on. But our Flutter 1.5 is tied to 2.3.0-dev, which is a little confusing. And we'll be better about that in the future. But for the sake of Flutter 1.5, 2-3-dev.
Yeah. So we are fine. So Flutter is evidently fine with using dash dev for basically production code. So we're fine with it as well. So I'm gonna just say, hey, you know what? What I did in the interim is I tried to just use 2.3.0, and I'm on Flutter stable, which is 1.5. And if I try to do that, Flutter will scream at me, hey, like we don't have any version of the Flutter SDK that has 2.3.0 yet. We do have 2.3.0-dev and all that thing, and that is actually so when you have dash dev, that is from Semver, semantic versioning, that is below 2.3.0 because it's not yet, right? It's dev.
So greater than or equal to is not going to work. So we need to be greater than or equal to the dev branches of 2.3.0. Ooh.
I'm going to put
You're going to put the whole thing there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, explicitness is good.
Yeah. I'm very like that. So cool.
You're very explicit.
Cool. So now we can use what can we use?
We can use the spread operator. We can use for and if statements in list literals.
Nice. I think there was also something in 2.2 that was added that we haven't been using, but I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, so this will be awesome.
The Dart team now are face palming themselves as you've forgotten what went into Dart 2.2.
Yeah.
Yes.
We could check, but let's not go all the way there. So we now have provider, and we can now provide then. So provider gives us the provider.
Are you going to put it all the ways at the very, 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 very top?
Yep.
Okay.
Why not?
I mean, you can put it anywhere in the widget tree.
That's true. Well, are you telling me I should put it? Because the thing is, I think in the tests.
See, I usually put it above my material app so that it gets passed down to other routes.
Right.
But you're putting it one above. That seems fine.
Yeah. I wonder, at some point in the tests, we could be like, oh, you know what? We are providing a BLoC mock. And
a BLoC mock.
Yeah, a BLoC mock, and then you want to do provide the BLoC mock and not.
You want to provide the BLoC mock.
Okay. Yes. So why is it not import package provider?
There you go.
And then this should be a provider, and then there's a child.
Yep. And there's the builder.
Come on.
Or am I thinking of?
Yeah, there's a builder, and so this gets context, which we're not gonna use, but I still like to have it.
But there's
there.
no context at this level because it's at runapp.
Well, it's the context of the provider. It's
okay.
Yeah.
It's being passed in. What am I saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that. Oh, and because we have 2 of these, we can actually have multiple providers.
Oh, we're going to go straight in. Advanced
Yeah.
core, multi-provider. So multi-provider will let you provide multiple. I think I'm stating the obvious.
No.
Multi-provider lets you provide multiple providers in a handy combined way. It's going to be a list, right? Children?
Yes. And now I can do just provider. Yeah, why did I not? Okay. Normally you would do like, Hacker News BLoC, but this is redundant because we're not providing anything else here. So context, what?
See, I'm used to using
Builder.
change notify provider.
Yes, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Not at the moment. At the moment, all we're doing is we're making our BLoC easily accessible throughout our widget tree.
Yes. And then this. Okay. So we're not using it here. So what does this give us? Many syntax errors, but also it gives us the fact that provider and multi-provider will now take care of disposing of the hacker BLoC and prefs BLoC, right? Which is really cool. Actually,
in this case, it's not really because you're at the very top of run app. It won't get disposed until the app shut down. But imagine if you provided this halfway down your widget tree, and then that portion of the widget tree got disposed or no longer used, then dispose will be automatically gone.
So I could do this, but I don't have a dispose there.
No.
So we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry.
Wait, doesn't dispose only in change
notifier provider will automatically call dispose, but provider gives you a dispose callback.
Yes. There we go.
So okay, cool. We have this, and now we don't need to pass in that. That makes it very nice. And now
breaks all your code.
Yes, that's fine. We don't need that when you're basically just saying key a key. Then then you don't need this, and you don't need
those.
This. And you don't need this.
Wow, your code's getting
nice on it, right? Hopefully. And also
everything's broken.
Everything's broken. Awesome. Where else do we? Okay, maybe we should ask the Dart analysis. Wait, why isn't
where your error's not showing up?
Oh. Where did I make the last change?
So you removed the
this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So my homepage now.
Yes. Okay. So again,
gone,
and again. And here, we actually.
You can start to pop it in.
Yes. So is loading, and loading info actually is just asking for one of the things here. So maybe we'll go there.
Do you want to go down another level, or you could just wrap all of these in the consumer or provider? You could just provider.off here.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that that's actually so. The cool thing about Hacker BLoC or Hacker News BLoC is that this is a stream, and it is a different stream than top articles. So loading info was listening to just the stream of is loading or not.
Yes.
Right. So we will probably at some point be splitting our Hacker News BLoC from like this block of different streams to maybe a little more change notifiers. Like, for example, the loading change notifier could be a separate one, which we will be changing and listening to.
Do you want to break that up now, though, or do you want? Because we could get the code working again here pretty easily.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna just say any change to Hacker News BLoC is going to rebuild whatever is depending on it right now, and then we can.
Yes.
Yeah. So what does this look like? This gets the stream of is loading. So I think we can just do consumer of Hacker News BLoC and Duke.
But you're still going to need the stream, right? Because you're going to access it, so you'll need the stream.
Or we can just say there's the builder. So we get the context, and we get.
Oh, okay.
Oh no,
because it's still a stream, so the stream's never going to change.
Yeah,
it's the things coming out of the stream. So you'll still need the stream builder in this current implementation.
Yes, good point, sir. Well spotted. So now I need to
Stream provider.
yeah. Yes, stream provider, but then we would have to actually provide that stream, and we're providing the block, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Although you can have providers with that.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Let's just get things working.
yes. So consumer again of Hacker News block.
BLoC.
Import and import,
Mm-hmm.
and now
You can have a builder instead of a child, right?
yes, builder
Always
and-
context. It's always context, right?
context.
Uh,
That's then there's the block,
there's
and
block,
then
and then
there's
there's
the child.
Which you don't need. So you could underscore that. Or are you going to be clever
Maybe
and
I
use
don't
it?
need. Do I need it?
You're not passing anything in, are you?
Probably not.
Anyway,
For clarity,
Oh, look.
let's keep it.
the red lines have gone.
Ooh.
Well, have they?
Well, we're still
Oh.
still looking at this. So blog dot is loading. Now I think we're done. Are we?
Well, we've got a couple of other places
Yes.
to fix yet.
So yeah, absolutely. But like, this doesn't need to. This can be a stateless widget now, right?
No, because you have the animation controller.
Bummer.
But you don't need to pass in the stream.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why do I need to? Oh, okay.
Because you've got some tweening going on. There's some sort of animation happening.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so that's one.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need that. And then article search takes these things that, oh man. We now need to tell article search what to show. Wow, this is harder than I thought.
But all good.
All good.
So what are we passing into article search?
It's a stream
of
of
articles.
articles.
Okay.
Okay, we could do that. We could do like,
Well, you can just grab the stream here, right?
yes.
You could do provider.of context.top articles.
Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. That's a
So you could just get rid of widget.newsblock and put it there, provider.of.
huh?
So can you not replace widget.hackernewsblock with provider.of hackernewsblock top articles?
Oh, this is like, this actually wants a stream, so we can have like a widget there. But I think around here we could have a widget. No, that's a search delegate. Okay, so in
But
that case,
Couldn't we just replace widget.hackernewsblock, that piece? So if you delete that and then do provider.of
okay.
hackernewsblock. Brackets.
Yes.
There you go. Not going to work.
Oh, context. Wow. Yeah.
And then you do the same for the news
Yeah.
articles. I'm not sure, is that going to...
Yeah. Why not? Right. Hopefully.
The only thing I'm thinking is if that auto updates every time.
Yeah, it
The
auto
provider
updates the whole
changes.
my homepage, but we don't care about that now.
Okay.
Right. So if you use provider.off anywhere in your build method, that will like always rebuild your whole widget that you're building here. So this will rebuild the scaffold. But to be honest,
I mean, to get it to start working.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that's good.
Yes. So this is cool. So we do the same thing here. Yes.
Yeah. That's 2 dots.
Oh yeah. And then prefs block is also awesome. So that's the prefs
Mm-hmm. That thing what we don't use.
block. Maybe we do. Well, obviously we do. Prefs block, not pref block.
Prefs. And then what are we passing from the prefs block?
Oh, do we pass the whole
Oh,
thing?
there we go. We must
Okay.
pass the whole block.
And
We could do
another
the same thing
one?
there. Mm-hmm. So whereas this looks like it's adding a bit more code, this is actually, we've removed the necessity to pass these things up and down the tree.
That's true.
This
yes.
is just the first pass. We can get trixier.
Okay.
In a bit.
This is just I just gonna. Okay. Good. So I think we are nothing to show with data analysis. Always good to see. So let's see if this actually works. Ooh, yes.
Look at that, it works.
It works.
It is now BLoC powered.
Provider powered. Come on.
Sorry, provider powered. Well, it's provider
yes,
BLoC
provider.
powered. Can we have a BLoC provider? Can we get that added into provider? No? Okay.
No.
That was a dirty look.
Okay, so we are done with this. So as you can see, to kind of summarize, we did not need to just pass around things in constructors.
Yep.
Now we can just like reach them wherever we need them, and that will rebuild whenever the block is changed, which in this case never happens, to be clear, right? Like
that's true. Blocks do never change.
Yeah. But that's fine. And yes.
So this is kind of just a nice way of doing an inherited widget.
Yes. Yes. In a way, which also gives you the opportunity to do the like dispose,
yep.
right? Which is really, really nice. Cool.
So we're done, right? That was the shortest, boring show ever.
Yeah. Let's
bore people further.
Yes. I'm not, I'm not ready yet to let you go to sleep or whatever you're doing after this.
You've already gone to sleep.
That's right.
You've got 3 people currently watching, going, I wonder what's next for replacing BLoC with provider.
Yes. Okay, so let's do what we thought previously, that we might use change notifier instead of the BLoC to do the updating, right? And now, do we want to start like again a little dirty and just like have the whole Hacker News block is one huge change notifier? So which means that basically anything that changes in the Hacker News app is always a notify thing, which basically means that we redraw a large part of the screen.
Well, there's a couple of things here that we've tied in. The is loading subject is kind of independent of the articles.
Yes.
So we could break that out.
Yes.
And all that is a Boolean.
Yes.
So you could use a change notifier. You could use a value notifier.
You could use a value notifier.
But
let's be very adventurous and let's do a value notifier.
Is there a value notifier provider?
I think so.
Oh no, but you can use a change notifier. You can use like a value notifier. Value notifier is a change notifier, and so it should work by the power of inheritance.
True, but also
I could be completely
listenable
wrong.
provider and value listenable provider, and I think value listenable is what we know, what we want.
I remember a value listenable builder.
Yes, but
that's completely off topic.
That is very off topic. Thank you. So class is loading.
Is loading provider? How do you normally name your providers?
Oh, you know what? We don't even need the class, right? We do what we want is we have a value listenable provider.
Value listenable provider.
Here we go. Is this, and that's a builder.
You are so far off script at this point.
Yeah, there is no script. It's very easy to do. And then that's a context, and we do value listenable.
Value listenable.
No.
Value notifier.
Value notifier. Yes, thank you. Value notifier of
type bool.
Yes.
Or is it like we
true? That's it, right?
So okay.
That is weird, but basically we would like to type it at some point, because right now what we're providing with the value listenable provider is just bool. So when we have a consumer down here,
of which we only have it in one place, right? Because that one's not really used that much. This is basically used for showing that the list is loading.
Yeah.
Also, you could make that code a little tighter by replacing context with underscore.
I could.
That's me just being pedantic.
Okay. There you go.
Are you happy now?
Yes. I just don't know what happens when I do listen to a value listenable and only expose the value. But how do we change the value is the question.
Consumer?
Yeah, but the consumer gets the value.
If you take a look at the constructor for value listenable provider, you'll see I saw in there is a should update notify. And does that, I presume that defaults to true. So that means every time it changes, it will cause a rebuild, right?
That's true, but how do we I would like from the innards of my apps, I want to say I want to change the value of this.
You want to change
of the
it?
bool, and I think that's I'm leaning towards going to change notifier just because that will give us the whole thing, and also it will let us be a little more strict about the type. Because right now it would be like consumer of bool, and that's not really readable if you say it somewhere like what bool are you talking about, right?
But when you get consumer, it gives you access to the value notifier, and at that point you can set it.
Well, if you just set the bool, I don't think that's gonna
And
notify
then
anyone.
It is because the update, whenever that changes, value notifier notifies its listeners that it's changed.
No, but like that makes sense with change, because what we'll get with a consumer is a bool, right? And if you change a bool, like nobody cares. It's not it's not a if we got a value listenable.
But don't you get the value notifier of type bool rather than just the value notifier?
I think you just get the value notifier, or don't you? Maybe you do.
Because otherwise then it wouldn't be that useful, because you should be able to get the listener. Or do you just get the value from the listener?
Yeah,
You might be right.
Yeah, I think it will.
I've never used this, so I have no idea. But I know change notifier will work quite nicely. But
yes,
I'm pretty sure you can do it with this. I'm just not sure how. Because remember, the builder is still like the type of the build. The builder is still passing back the value notifier. So surely you get the value notifier,
right,
in the consumer rather than just the bool. Let's check.
Let's check. Okay, where do we put this? We could do. We could do like a floating action button, just so in that case it would be like a consumer of. Let's first test my hypothesis. So consumer of bool, and it's gonna be a builder of context, and then
isn't it a consumer of value notifier bool?
That's what we are testing.
Okay.
If it is, then I'm fine. So is loading, and then if we're loading, you know what? Floating action button, and now like the child. What am I doing? Icon?
Sure.
Icons. Whatever.
Hot tub.
No. Color is either.
Oh. Is this how you test things? You just create floating action buttons and
this
change the color.
Yeah,
this is
the
handy tip for testing your Flutter code. Use a floating action button.
Green.
Cyan.
No, please, why? Okay. What is this? Oh, on pressed. Okay. Pressed is nothing.
Oh, I think it's throwing an error because it can't find the thing.
Oh, okay.
So try changing that to value notifier. Oh, wait.
Uh-oh. Yep. See, and now we're stuck. This assumes that this maybe like this changes, you know, like we're providing something that really changes from here, and not somewhere else. Back to the drawing board, we are going to actually have a change notifier.
So we just edit out the last 10 minutes. Nobody will know.
No, no, no. They will know.
okay.
Yes, yes. This is.
We
this
don't
is
know how
deep-
value notifiers
Yes,
work.
this is learning. So, I like the next thing is also. Do we really want an is loading change notifier? Maybe we have that in our article change notifiers, right? You know what I mean?
You're still going to need the change notifier, though, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So you still might want to make it a change notifier. I mean, you could go with what you currently have, which is just encapsulate everything into the Hacker News change notifier.
Yeah.
But to get this working quickly, you could just do the bool and demonstrate what we're up to.
Okay. So you know what?
Mm-hmm.
This will still be pretty. So with change notifier.
Change notifiers you can mix in, which means you don't have to worry about not being able to inherit other things. Oh, you're gonna need foundation.
Yeah. Flutter foundation.
Your IDE is misbehaving. Classes can you mix in with other classes?
Change. Oh, notifier is not a class. Thank you.
Ah, there we go.
Notifier is a class. Okay, so we in that case we have bool is loading.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably false.
Yep.
And then we have things like the articles.
We have
So
top articles and we have news articles.
right. So also bool get is loading. Oh, maybe you know what? Let's just keep it simple. So
Yep.
is loading, and then
List of article.
we need a setter, and do we need a
Well, I mean, you've got your is loading, so that's you can change that arbitrarily now.
yeah, but it's not gonna notify listeners.
Oh,
Yeah,
you need to
but
put it in,
but I
yes.
think we are changing it in a different way. Like we are changing it only here, so we will be notifying listeners. So back to bool get is loading, is just is loading,
Mm-hmm.
and then top articles is like
List of articles.
yes, list of article top articles
Mm-hmm.
like this.
Sure.
And then new articles, and okay, and then we can have like
We don't need setters in those because you probably only change those inside this
Yes.
class, so you'll need getters.
get top articles is I like this because it just makes everything a little bit
Oh.
top articles safer, you know.
Mhm. So we're returning a list. We're returning a widget, right? No, that's a type.
Yeah, no, it's just a type that doesn't let you change anything in the so imagine that you're providing the list of articles to some random widget, and that random widget says like, okay, I'm just gonna clear that list for some reason, and suddenly like all your app doesn't have those articles anymore, and you don't know what's happening. So let's do the same thing here. That's new articles, and that's new articles.
Okay, so these now replace our behavior subjects.
Yes. Why do we have articles here? I don't know. Okay.
And you probably want to-
Stories type is also a thing that could be like a stories type.
Mm-hmm.
Stories type, and
Then we have a getter for that. These things all change internally, so these are all really easy to do. Okay.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, and
Do
cached articles. Oh, map. Oh, we have a okay, so when we create the block, we actually go out and we get.
When you create the block, you're prefetching some of the articles, which is fine because you can just load them into. We can now put them in top articles and new articles as opposed to popping them into
Yes.
the.
Also, so storage type is actually was a sink. It was a way for external like widgets to say, hey, now I want a story type of either news stories or top
That's the
stories.
bottom navigation bar. Top
Yes,
stories,
yes,
stories.
yes. So we need
Yep.
we need a yes. We also need probably like a method that we can call from outside and say like, hey, next I want that.
Yeah, update stories type or change stories type. Okay.
So we could have a setter. That's true. Like we could just like say storage type equals, but I think it's probably better to say like
when we switch it, we still need to notify listeners. So you'll still need to call notify listeners
yes,
here. Yep.
yes. Yeah. Okay. So let's do this. Storage type,
Mm-hmm.
and then we are going to maybe this is async. I don't know. Get articles and update.
Is that a stream? I think that's the stream you deleted. It was the.
Yeah, there was a
So we're
stream.
gonna-
Then we okay. So we need to. Okay. It is. Oh, okay.
And then we add it to the stream here.
Oh,
So we could just pull all that code and put it straight into the update now, right?
Yes.
Because all we need to do is do await update articles IDs.
Yes. Okay. So this is. So, coming back to what we're trying to do here is we are
Mm-hmm.
when the user taps new stories,
Yep.
we want to somehow tell the BLoC to get us the new stories, right?
Yes.
We don't need to go all the way around this, like saying, hey, these are the new types of stories that you should be loading. Maybe we should just say, hey, I just want the new stories. Does that make sense? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, when I click on top stories, we just want to load the top stories and display them.
Yeah.
So we could just get top stories pushed into the list and then call update notifiers.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, yes. Okay.
So this is good because we'll simplify the code down further, but we got a bunch of work we need to get done.
You are right. I'm gonna put all these here.
Mm-hmm.
So so this is actually future of void now, and this is async, and is loading subject is no more.
No, because we have the is. So
Yes.
you set your is loading because it's loading.
Yes. So first our is loading is now loading, and we also
We want to
notify listeners now.
notify listeners.
Okay. Now we get the articles, and now how do we find out what IDs? Oh, we first need the get IDs. So first we get IDs.
Mm-hmm.
That's IDs. So our IDs is this.
Or final.
Okay. Final. So
I know.
IDs is IDs. Update is this, and then here in the BLoC paradigm, it would be like add this to the stream of subject.
But we're not going to do that now. We're just going to update our.
Yes.
Oh, you probably want to put your. You want to when you await. I bet it returns the list of.
Oh.
So we just want to capture your new stories.
No,
So you
no,
wanna-
it's actually future null. Come on, future null is wrong. This should be future void. But it assigns to this internal field of articles.
That's okay. We have now an internal field of new articles, right?
Right. Yeah. But okay. Okay. So yeah, the weird thing about BLoC, how we implemented it in this case, and which trips me up, is that we have new article subjects. I'm sorry, we have new articles. We have top articles.
Yep.
But what BLoC made you listen to was just articles, and right. So there was one stream of articles, and when you clicked and looked like at top articles, you would still be listening to the same stream. It would just like the BLoC would change this, right? That's not gonna work now, will it? Right. So we're not actually, we're literally changing all the articles by like having a new thing on the stream. There's no two streams. Like you would assume there are two different things to
Oh, so
subscribe
there's
to.
one stream and we're just pushing.
Yes, yes.
So it's like us saying we only have one articles list.
yes,
And we're going to update that articles list depending on what you
yes,
click
yes, correct. And I don't think that's a good approach. And and now I'm torn between either keeping it so that it's easier for us to switch to the new version, or we could go and kind of rip this out and actually have two different things to look at, new top articles and new articles.
on. Okay.
So you know what? For now, let's actually have just one. So so that means that we'll have this. Just articles.
Just articles. Okay.
And just articles.
Mm-hmm.
And just articles. Okay. So
Pragmatic get stories by type.
yeah, I think actually
And now articles
this
is
is now this could be
updated.
like just a list of article, and I think what happens is we can
Just return filtered?
yes,
Yeah, that's
that's a list of articles. It doesn't complain, so I think that's it. Cool. So so now we basically say, hey, articles is this.
articles is that, and then you want to notify listener. Actually, you want to set is loading to false.
Yes.
And then notify listeners.
And notify listeners. Cool. Yo. That's, to me, that seems like a plan.
Mm-hmm. It also is probably easier to read than what we were doing before because I was getting super lost in where all our streams were going.
So we don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this.
Do we need to close anything now?
Well, so
It should be
first of all,
dispose now,
yeah,
right?
it should be a dispose, and we don't need to close anything. Do we?
Do we have?
We,
don't think
I
so.
mean, like if we're currently waiting for this, but this will get correctly taken care of. I can see here, right? Like this will just
Well, ultimately,
yeah.
it won't get like killed off until the await completes. So we might
That's
it might
true.
end up hanging around. But once the await completes, it will.
Yeah, yeah,
It will
yeah.
get cleaned
That's
up.
true. Yes. So like we could go, like we could be very good citizens, and we could have like a connection that we would be closing.
Yep.
But let's not do that now. So no, we don't need to dispose of anything yet.
Okay.
Get articles we have here, that doesn't change.
Doesn't it?
That's just cached articles. Yeah. And then get articles update. Is this the one that we just did? Yes. And initialize articles. Are we?
So that's where you preload the cache.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. So that's what we did. Yeah. When you create the BLoC, which is now called, what is it now called?
I don't think we've changed it yet. It'd be Hacker News change notifier.
Okay.
It's a bit of a
That's-
mouthful.
Yeah.
Hacker News CN. How about HNCN?
Hacker News notifier.
Sure.
Okay, so now that whenever you create the notifier, you will actually start the process of initializing articles.
Yep.
We don't need this.
Nope.
And initializing articles gets the, oh, okay. It basically, it calls
It's going to call
get
that new
stories
story.
type.
Maybe you want to call that get stories by type, as you're not getting the stories type, you're getting stories by
Yes,
the type.
yes, thank you.
Or get stories by stories type. That's a bit much.
It's also called articles, so I don't know why we're calling it stories. But anyway, so that would be, I know why we didn't have it here, because now we're kind of, we're saying, you know, here we're kind of assigning it to articles.
Yep.
So if we initialize it here, we are going to,
Oh,
you know,
you have it hidden.
you'll-
Yeah, there's no cache anymore.
yeah. Well, but also you're gonna first show the first like top articles and then news stories right after that, right? Like what I wanted to do was get stories by type, and then do news stories and then top stories, and that's not gonna work. So how about?
Do you,
Oh, okay. So yeah. Wait, why is this the? This should be this. So we'll just unfortunately be not dry, and we will do this. I know. I'm sorry.
and you're just going to choose new stories? Is that what it starts on? Top stories? Okay.
Top stories.
We can tidy this up a little bit later.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we actually use the? Are we actually assigning to the top articles and new articles? Oh, that's the cache, maybe?
That was the cache originally, and then articles was what we were pushing in.
so
So you
maybe
could
we don't-
technically still use that,
Yeah.
which means your code will then be dry again, mostly. But
Let's
we need to wire them up,
we-
though.
Yeah. Yes, we're not wiring them up yet, and that's fine. Stories type. Okay, so let's see what we made worse. So article search says you're giving me top article. Oh, here we are using it.
Yeah, so it's not just dot.
Okay.
Oh, because this is the index, so
Yeah.
what it will be is it will be provider.of dot articles, and then whatever the current index type points to. So if it's 0, it will be top stories, and if it's 1,
Yes.
it will be new stories. So you could just hard code those in here, right?
Yeah, it's also this is now, it expects a stream, and what we actually are getting is this, which makes things, I think, easier. Right. Did I fix
This
it?
is the search articles.
Yeah.
Hacker News notifier context.
So yeah, so we are using these, but we're never assigning to them. So that means if I say, hey, get stories by type.
So what we want to do here is, what you're looking at the code at the moment is when you click on one of these, articles gets updated. Is
Yes.
that correct? So we now have get stories by type,
Yes.
which updates the articles.
Yes.
So we could get away from having top stories and new stories to just showing the articles, and then we call this method every time we want to change the type of articles returned.
Yes. Go on.
So
I don't think I follow, because
the code in main then
you mean this?
here becomes get stories by type top stories.
Well,
And then
but
it will get stories by type, it will update the list, and then it will redraw itself where we show it.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's, I think, how the code is now structured to work.
Right.
So here you're saying get the new ones, then when it gets the new ones, wherever we display it, we will be showing just the articles rather than the, well, it's wherever the stream is for articles.
Right. Yeah, we can actually say, because what we're doing, and this is kind of terrible, but we're really my homepage state is almost anything that we change, it's rebuilding from scratch, right? So we could just do, we could really just do this, to be honest. This is the articles that we're showing now, and elsewhere we're saying.
But hang on a second. This is down here, right? You still need to. Where do you say show top stories versus new stories?
Oh, so this is the search, and where do we say that? That's a good question, and that's, I think, here. You know what? Let's not.
Okay.
So top stories, new stories, and here the same thing. We are just gonna say. Here we're gonna say switch type, and then case if it's stories type top stories, then articles is articles, and break, and is if it's stories type new stories, then it's new articles is articles, and that gives us the same thing like before.
Yep. Okay.
And yeah, bear with us. So we've kind of fixed this, did we? No, we didn't, because here we don't need that anymore, right?
You're gonna need a consumer, because this builds the results. So this is when the results come through, right?
Yes. Where does it, the articles? Oh. Yeah, that's a consumer. Yes. Wow, we need a consumer here.
Yeah, because build results, as the results come in, it will.
Yeah, so we need a consumer here. Wow. Okay, so we're not sending anywhere anything here, I
No,
think.
because this is the search.
Yeah, this is the search. And that means that we are like, oh, we have a query here, and then build suggestions. How does the search tell? I wasn't here, but when
This is a search delegate, so this kind of handles all of the behind the scenes when the.
Yeah. And how does it like? How does it notify anyone about anything? Do you know?
How does it notify anyone about anything?
Right, like if I change the query, does it by default? Oh. Okay, let's read some documentation then. Delegate for show search to define the content of the search page. The body below the app bar can either show suggested queries.
So the search delegate.query contains the current query and should be used to build the suggestions in the results.
Oh, so it will. I'm guessing it's. And show search delegate is. Oh, that's just a class. Wow, interesting. That's interesting. And we are
Search delegates are really cool, but I think we may have bitten off quite a bit now to fix this.
Yeah.
Because this is coming from. So here's our results. So when it does the search piece and it gets the data back, this is where we're showing it.
Right.
And this is coming from a stream of articles.
You know what? I'm getting the vibe that maybe article search is a little like a bridge too far. So let's do this. Let's pretend that this never happened.
Okay, pretend this never happened.
And we have the body, and I think the body we can hopefully.
Okay, so we're gonna ignore the search piece for the
Yes.
minute, and we're just gonna fix the body, which is a really good idea.
Yes. So we have a consumer
Yes, we do.
of Hacker News
Hacker News
nullifier.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are.
This is where our stream comes through and it tells us which one to show.
Right. So this is
Which stream do we show?
We still call it BLoC, but whatever. Child.
Mm-hmm.
and then BLoC, articles, map, and item from each of these. And so we don't need this.
Press block we don't do anything with. That's okay.
And now, okay, and we're getting somewhere. So, so when we want to, so when people tap on each of these things, we want to we want to say, get stories by type, stories type, top stories, right?
Okay, so this is where we're updating the bottom navbar.
Yes, that's where, yes.
Okay.
This is just
stories by type, new stories. Yep.
There's a bool here. Oh, okay, that's the loading info, which we are, again, BLoC, stream builder. We probably don't need the stream builder. We just need the one builder, right? Yes. Okay, so we have this.
So this is going to be builder block controller.forward, controller.reverse. Okay.
And then I just want to, where is it? Oh, it's not ever asking about what? It's never asking about if it's loading or not. That's interesting. That may not be what we want. Okay, well, let's see.
Okay.
Moment of truth. And it does not work.
What have we broken?
Just to be sure. Yeah, analysis issues are, I think it's fine because this is in the search.
There's still some.
We're not actually using it, as far as I know.
No, search delegate will just be in the actions of the top bar.
So what is not? Oh, okay. Did we actually ask about any of these? So let's. Okay.
Interesting.
So
it's taking a while to load.
Yes, and we did not fire up the initial load. So let's try to you know. So in the BLoC.
Yep.
The last thing that we'll do today is, where's the constructor again? Oh, initialize articles. We are updating the articles, but we're not actually showing them.
So we have to notify. We have to.
Oh yeah, we're not notifying listeners.
And we also have to decide. We have to.
Yeah, this is top articles, I guess, and also articles.
Ooh,
that's
okay.
Terrible. I know it's terrible, but
sure.
No.
Where are we calling initialize articles from?
We are calling it from the constructor, I think.
We're calling it from Hacker News Notifier.
This is interesting. So this works well, but we are not.
And this constructor is setting the map.
So okay, let me see where we are actually showing the. Yeah, we have the articles. We are listening to this.
Yep.
And we have the list view. And we're doing this. So, So we're not notifying listeners somehow.
Are we sure that that's being called? Yeah. Well, it's in the constructor, so I assume so.
Okay, so what would follow now is Prince
Were we doing it? But should we be doing it in the constructor because it's not constructed yet, therefore the listeners might not be listening? And if we do it in the constructor before it's finished construction? Is there something going on there?
Oh.
Should we be calling notify listeners in a constructor because no listeners have signed up to this yet?
Well, true, but we also, it's not like it takes some time, right? So we initialize, and this is not awaited for, obviously, because it's on a constructor, and then there's all this wait until notify listeners. But you're right, it's possible that we are returning notify listeners before this happens.
Well, that's still awaited.
Yeah.
We could create the instance and then have an initializer. But even still, it's not going to have called the...
Okay, so this evidently works. So what if I do this?
But that only puts it into the cached articles. Are we using cached articles anywhere else now?
No, it's also, it actually notifies listeners, so it could work. But it doesn't. And then it does. What is happening here? Okay.
So the provider is created
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning in the tree.
It
And
is.
so
We're not doing change notifier provider. Okay. That explains things.
we're not using that anymore, are we? The valuable listener, no.
No.
No,
Yeah,
look, that
see?
just works. So the moral of the story is use the right provider for the right job.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad that we did it.
Yeah,
So
okay.
next steps would be, okay, we get rid of this. We probably split this up to different things that, you're not listening to everything that happens and not redrawing all the time. And then props block is probably going to also be a change notifier, and then we need a change notifier provider for that.
So you might be questioning why we did this in the first place, because it seems we've just made matters far more complex. What we're struggling with is the fact that we built something that was very streams oriented, and we're moving it to more of a listener style, and so we need a little bit more time to refactor our code.
Yeah, but this is like, just to be, this reads a little better for a person who's coming to Flutter. They will probably not have, from the very start, they will not have this kind of problem, right? They will be not refactoring like a big block to change notifier listener. And this is like, oh, okay, so I have like I have this, it's asynchronous, but still when I want to notify listeners, I actually call the notify listeners. There's no weirdness about behavior subject and async values not being ready yet and stuff like this. So there's way less stream builders used everywhere.
The code was getting simplified down.
Yeah.
Certainly in the widget tree.
Yes. So we are some steps forward, some steps back. Some things are, I like BLoC better because like you were able to just say, hey, I only care about is loading. It's a stream.
Yes.
I'm just doing that.
It was nicely fine-grained.
Yes.
But you could, like, as you said at I.O., you can have change notifiers within change notifiers.
Yes.
And so we're going to need to do a little bit of work in this.
Yeah.
And so the the moral of the story is that using the provider is great unless you want to use search, and then it doesn't work at all. Is that correct?
Yeah. We will need to figure out what the whole search thing is.
I've forgotten how search delegate works.
Yeah. But I'm assuming we're just going to remove the stream of things and just use the articles themselves, and that's fine. Cool. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a very productive, long episode about refactoring and provider and everything else. If you have any questions, please ask them in the YouTube comments. We actually read them. And that's it.
I think that is.
Okay. Thank you.